From Erie Zone Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Steiner. I'm with the Perry 200 Commission. And holy cow, I can't even get my name. Hold on a second. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Hey, we're Cass this week.
Kaz is at an eye appointment right now, so he should probably be strolling in here any minute, hopefully. He might come in with an iPad. He might be a pirate today, so you never know what Kaz is going to be like when he rolls in here. But he is at a doctor's appointment right now.
Oh, okay, John.
Oh, who's this, Lloyd?
Yeah.
How's everything going up in the Holy Trinity area?
Pretty good. What I wanted to thank Cass for was, we had a fire here in our area last Thursday, early in the morning.
Okay.
And, nobody thanked the firemen at all. There was a neighbor next door. She was elderly, and I told them, and somebody told her house was empty, and so they checked, she was home, and her house didn't get any damage at all.
Really? Well, that's a good, sometimes, if when fire or police, they do good things in this community, sometimes a letter to the editor, to the newspaper.
Yeah, they don't even put it in, but on Cash Show,
Right. Well, a lot of people are watching this show today, hopefully, and it's always good to hear positive things about what the city folks do instead of negative things.
Yeah, they did real good.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear, Lloyd.
So where you been hiding?
Nothing, just working on a couple projects, working with the Perry 200 on some things, and just staying low.
That's good.
Yeah. But we'll have to get together sometime, maybe during the festival. I'll stop by your house.
Stop by. You know where I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. The fire department did real good that day.
That's good. That's great to hear. They're unsung up there, and they do a great job.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Lloyd.
Okay, thank you, John.
Okay. Again, my name is John Steiner with the Perry 200. Hopefully you guys will call in today, so I don't have to sit up here and talk about different things. I was on this show, I'd say about 2 months ago, and we had people calling in about the nonprofits and the non-taxable properties. And right after that, we had a woman that called in about people that were standing next to different stores out here on State Street and asking people for money. And we were commenting about how we didn't just like to hand people over money because we didn't know what they were going to do with it. And then as I left here, I was kind of putting two and two together, and technically the nonprofits, they're not obligated to give the city really anything. So I compared that to what people, if someone comes up to me and asks me for money, my first question is to myself, what are they going to do with this money? So when we go to the nonprofits and say, give us money, they're skeptic. They want to know what they're going to get with their money and what we're going to spend the money on. So they're more likely to dictate or earmark it for police cars or other, different things that the city needs. It's tough. I mean, a lot of people get on the nonprofits, and to some degree, I also agree with everybody that they need to step forward. But, places like Hammett and St. Vincent's and, even Gannon University, they do a lot in this community. They offer a lot to the tax base. But it just seems like there aren't any single-family homes anymore in the downtown district to where we can bring in revenue for the city. When I grew up down on the Lower East Side where Erie Insurance and Hammett are now, Hammett was just a one building on State Street, and from State Street all the way over to Parade Street. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Yes, in a way I disagree with you, but I agree with you too.
Okay.
With the nonprofits.
All right.
If they're making a profit and they're a nonprofit, whatever they're making a profit on, they should be paying taxes on that.
Right. Well, like I said, that's a double-edged sword. They do a lot for the community, and technically, it's the state has to force them.
Well, yes, we have to get state legislation to be changed.
Right.
But just for instance, Cathedral Prep's football field up there, Dollinger Field.
Right.
I went by there this morning, and they're renting that sign out for $35 a day, and yet they are a nonprofit.
Right. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Prep come through with a big check for the city?
Yeah, but a one-time check does not answer the span.
So that wasn't a yearly thing, that was just a one-time deal?
That's exactly right. That's just like with Lecom, with Gannon, with Mercyhurst. If they feel in their need, they want to make a contribution, they do it for a one-time deal. And you got Fred Rush there, who's supposed to be the head of that pilot program. He's getting paid that salary for doing nothing.
Well,
Not doing anything.
he's in a tough position because, by law and technically, they don't have to give us anything.
That's true.
So, it's kind of like we can take what we can get, and, I agree with you. They do accept city services, and they do, fire, police, and all that.
Yeah, but in the same sense, look at the property they would be assessed at. It would be in the millions for a minuscule little donation every once in a while if they feel it's necessary.
Well, one thing about Hammett Hospital,
Hammett Hospital and Vincent, they signed a pilot program where they pay 50%.
Right. Well, Hammett Hospital is right on our most taxable property as well. The lakefront property.
That's true. And of course, you got the Port Authority down there too, and there was just a ruling with those two boat companies that wanted to be tax exempt.
Right. They didn't win that, though, I don't think.
I don't think the other one should win. I don't think Sun Electronics, they don't pay any taxes down there. They're in that KOZ zone.
How many years, do you know how many years is there a limitation on the years for that?
I don't know.
Because they've been down there for quite a while.
Yes, they have.
So even if they had the 10-year LERTA,
Own it too.
even if they had the 10-year LERTA, that has to be up by now.
That was a 10-year LERTA, but there's also the KOZ zone in there too.
Right.
It's just like the Sheraton Hotel. Now they're affiliated with a convention center, and they're tax exempt.
Right.
How can you explain this?
Well, I've always...
Again? Excuse me. Go ahead.
I've never been against them putting non-taxable entities on our most taxable property. The only thing that I do like is where the library is located. I think that with the Maritime Museum and that whole, the way they have that down there now.
That's a good setup, but Nick Scott's going to build a hotel down there too.
Yeah, maybe they're all fighting, those factions have been fighting for years. That finally just got settled recently. It was in the paper.
I think he was happy with that settlement. Now I think he'll go ahead and use that smokestack from the old Penelec as part of his hotel.
Well, that's definitely part of Erie's history down on the bayfront down there, and that could definitely be something that could be...
It's good. He'll be paying taxes, but then again, the convention center costs us money every year.
Yeah, was it like $500,000 or something?
Right, and the whole thing here is, if you look at the salaries of the staff and the executives down there, they're taking that out of it, and what are they really bringing into the city? 10 or 15 events a year?
Well, you got to remember, the center itself may be in the red, but they bring in the tourists who stay at the hotels and...
Yeah, that's a one-time shot.
Right.
Depending what time of the year they come up here.
Right.
They come up here in the wintertime, like now through May or June, they'll never be back.
Right. Well, as we knew going into it, Erie's only a tourist town for...
Well, Erie used to be a great industrial place.
Right. Well, that's...
But that's the thing of the past.
Yeah.
While you're on the phone, I have one thing. I heard on talk radio this morning, they were blasting your cat station for someone who was on, I think he was shot, all kinds of derogatory remarks. Now, where is it's not just Erie, you have affiliates using that cable TV, right? That Cat?
Cat TV, I believe Cat TV and this channel are two different entities. I think that the Cat TV is just shown in the city too. Honestly, I think the guy that's here doing the show with Kaz on other days, he's the one that's affiliated with Cat TV.
There was a gentleman saying that CATV even makes donations to the city. Do you give any franchise fee to the city, or you're just a public entity for anyone who wants to use it?
I'm saying 99% sure that it's just a pub. They're not for nonprofit, so they don't charge anybody to do shows over there, and anybody could come in to do a show if they have their own people to run the cameras. And
it's just like Time Warner. They have a franchise fee that they give to the city, and they're still kicking that around because they don't have a new contract yet.
Right. So I don't think that they donate
5
anything.
or 6 years.
Yeah, I don't think they donate anything to the city.
No, I don't think so either. Well, we'll get off the phone in case I shook the covers off of anybody. Maybe they want to get in on this conversation.
I know everybody's used to Kaz. Everybody's like, "Where's Kaz at?" So.
I know where Kaz is. At least I do. They can turn on WERG-FM if they want to hear him on Sunday. Listen to that good old. I'll tease him now. Banana boat music.
Yeah, he invited me. He wanted me to come on and do that show, and I said, "Well, what kind of show is that?" He said, "It's a Polish polka show."
No, it's the Italian hour.
Oh, is it the Italian? Kaz does the Italian hour?
The Polish polka, yeah. Yeah, he's on there every once. He does a great job.
Yeah, I bet he does. He's a character.
He's a super person.
He's reading the eye charts now. So he's probably EFPTOZ.
Well, I think he's a little more than that because of the surgery he had.
Yeah.
Just checking up to make sure everything's going well.
Yeah, I was supposed to have that guy that was here from Cat TV. I thought he was going to come down today. Kaz wasn't sure, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
it'd be nice if we could get a council person up there so they could get into the fire.
Actually, when I talked to Kaz yesterday and he asked if I would come down and do it until he got here, I had made some calls to a couple of the council members.
They all backed out.
They're working. I mean,
they're working.
Most of them are working. The ones that I don't know all of them, but the ones that I do know, I gave them a call, and they were interested in coming in. Like I spoke with Dave Brennan on the phone, and
If those are liaisons and have meetings and dinners, they always seem to attend those. They don't want to get on the show and get in front of the public, the taxpaying public.
Well, it seems like when they come on the show, they just take a lot of complaints and.
The last one time there was on it, I guess it was Mursky and another Brennan, I believe, and ever since they got some of the heat, they don't want to get on the show. But in shortly they won't be able anyways because they'll be running for office.
Right. The
4 seats, or how many seats there is.
I think there's 4, and there's a lot of candidates that are putting their name up. I've heard some different names that are running for different offices.
Right. So, okay, have a great afternoon.
All right, we'll talk about that later if we get some free time. Call back later if nobody calls. Okay, like I said, if anybody has anything they want to talk about, hopefully Kaz will come in here pretty soon. But we were also talking about the downtown and how it's struggling and different things like that. 20 years ago, there used to be people, single-family homes with disposable income that used to live in this city. Now it seems like that, with the effects of urban sprawl and everything that's been going on, everybody's moving to Mill Creek. So what that leaves us downtown are, unfortunately, a lot of Section 8 housings. I think even the Richford Arms and Schmidt Towers and even the Boston store, I believe, are a lot of Section 8 housings. And most of those folks do not have disposable income. And when you're in the middle of a city and you want a city to be thriving, you need folks in the city with disposable income. I give this administration some credit. They are attempting to build townhouses in the city. They are doing what they can to bring people back to the city. I'm going to say it. I've worked in the social service field, and it seems like the organizations. It's hard to build $150,000 townhouses when you have, mental health services right 1 block away, where you have different people walking around. You have homeless people walking around, and it seems like the homeless population is really starting to increase in our community. I don't know the exact figures, but it seems like there's a lot more people around. And it's hard for, I know the Downtown Improvement District, I think it was like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, they put together a master plan of what was supposed to go on in the downtown. I'm pretty sure they were supposed to talk about a supermarket, a drugstore, different things, a fresh produce store type of thing. And a lot of people, they can't get to, commit the money or invest the money, you should say, in order to make those kind of things happen, because not enough people in the downtown area have disposable income. That's why you see a lot of Family Dollars or Dollar Generals in the downtown area. Some of the restaurants and some of the bars, they do okay. People come down after work, or they may stick around after work, or even during the lunch hour when you have the business people. But in order to have a living and thriving downtown, you need people with disposable income to start moving back into town. So, I mean, even though they're taking a lot of heat about the new apartments, hold on a second. Taxpayer Hotline, you're on the air, go ahead.
Well, on this morning show, the owner of the Taco Bell at 12th and French called in, and he said that Armin Chimeni's office was requiring his Taco Bell to plant trees now, after they've already been in business for a while. He said that his security cameras actually help to detect people who are robbing the Sunoco station across the street.
Right.
And the trees on the Sunoco property actually made it difficult for the police to identify the people who had robbed that store.
Right.
He's having trouble understanding why now the city is requiring him to put trees on his property.
Well, I think there's one of the reasons why it took so long for them to build or something. There was an ordinance where your business has to come, if you're on a corner, your business has to come to the corner of the property. I'm not sure what the feet is, as far as feet goes. But they were given an easement on the ordinance, I believe, so where they were allowed to build back so they could put their parking lot there. Maybe that has something to do with it, but, do you want to over-trump the safety aspect of what's going on across the street? I don't know, but I know there's ordinances that state any new business has to, I think, build out to so far from the corner or something along. I'm not exactly sure of the what or whatnots of the ordinance, but I know there is one on the books that states they have to build towards the corner. So I don't know, if trees count, or, because if you look at the other businesses on 12th and French right there, you can see on the corners, there's a box with flowers or rocks or some type of decorations on the corner.
He says he has landscaping around his property, around the Taco Bell. There's some bushes.
Right. I'm pretty sure there's an ordinance that says you have to be so many feet away from the corner. But I understand where the cameras come into play. So that's kind of a catch-22 either way, so.
Yeah, if he put trees on, that would make it more difficult for the security cameras to fulfill their purpose.
Right. And, with all the trouble that's going on downtown these days with people robbing stores and all that, I understand why he was concerned about it. Maybe they'll let him just keep the shrubbery that he has. I don't know. I don't know how strict they are on the ordinance. And did he get a hold of Mr. Shimani?
He didn't say that he did, but it would be helpful if Kaz could have someone on the show to explain why they're now requiring him to put trees around his Taco Bell property.
Mm-hmm. Actually, Kaz just walked in. I saw him sneak in, so, if you want to...
could you pass that on to him?
Absolutely. And I'll ask him about the footage and stuff. Actually, he's making his way over to the phones right now. Kaz, they miss you, Kaz. They miss you. The gentleman's on the phone. He's asking about, they have a law where you have to, when he's talking about the Taco Bell on 12th Street, where you have to build to the corner and they have security cameras there. I'll let you explain it. Go ahead, caller. You still there?
Is Kaz there?
Yeah, he just got here.
Okay, well, you want me to explain the same?
Well, what it is their security cameras, and he's trying to get a hold of Armin. and to find out about, what are the rules as far as having landscaping and stuff, blocking security cameras where you can see the gas station across the street. So he's trying to get a hold of Armand, and he suggested maybe you have Armand or somebody on your show to talk about it.
No, he's saying that there's cameras at the,
Taco Bell, and that shoot across the street to the gas station, and so they get robbed over there and they have trouble. That camera gets a good view of what's going on over
but
there.
it's being blocked, though, you think?
I guess what does the city want them to put, trees, you said?
Yes, they want the Taco Bell to put trees on the Taco Bell property. When the Sunoco station was robbed, the Taco Bell security cameras saw some part of the robbers at the Sunoco station, but they couldn't get an entirely clear view of them because of the trees on the Sunoco property.
Yeah, there's some kind of,
Now the city's requiring Taco Bell to put more trees up that would impede the view of even other activity. It would make it more difficult for the security cameras to do their job in getting a clear view of people walking on French or even 12th Street.
I'll try to talk to Armin. I don't know if he'll come on. I know there was some kind of, when they built that Taco Bell, we have some kind of, and I'm not familiar with those rules, but I remember it was the same thing when they built Marquette, like. They have to come out
Yeah, we talked about that a little
so far to the curb,
Right.
to the property, actually, and they're supposed to have like either walls or something like that, but I thought they got a variance. Apparently they didn't, or...
Well, I think they have
Taco Bell said they thought they cleared everything when they were approved by city council before they built their...
Yeah, because they had the same argument at Wendy's across the street, I think, so...
Yeah, that held Wendy's up for a while, with that argument going. And then
Yeah.
I think they put some landscaping or something.
I'll try to get you an answer on that, okay?
Okay.
You-
He said
you
the
mark that
owner
down?
of Taco Bell called in the morning show, the Korchik's morning
Yeah.
show, and he said that he put in $1 million from even outside of Erie investors to build the Taco Bell, and he thought everything was cleared up.
Well, yeah, they did a nice job there, because they tore down the old building, and,
Yeah, he said he put in landscaping, that he thought he met all of the requirements, and he didn't understand why the city is now requiring him to put in trees.
yeah, I hadn't heard that, but I'll check in and I'll try to get you an answer.
Okay, Kaz.
I will definitely go up, when I see Armin, I'll ask him, because that's a new one, but
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you, John, and thanks, Kaz.
No problem, thanks
hey,
for calling.
thanks for filling in.
I can only keep your seat warm for you for so long.
I
I can't feel your shoes.
I
can't
can
do
see
it.
pretty good. I can't see perfect yet, but
Hey, you're good enough. You're good enough. Yeah, we were talking about some of the nonprofit things, and I just wrote some things down in case if I ended up
mean
being up
about
here.
paying taxes, or?
Yeah, and how,
Yeah, I've said for a long time, and I've talked to the legislators when I see them, and I tell people to do the same.
yeah.
But, I'd like to see them come up with either a public safety tax or something.
Well, we were talking about, it's a state, the state guys have to step up and,
But
force
that's,
their hands a little
everything
bit.
comes, unfortunately, in our state, this is, the bad thing is that we can't do anything on a local level.
Right.
Be it Mill Creek, Erie,
Right.
even the county in some cases, we're stuck by whatever the legislature wants to do.
Right.
And, while you don't want to hurt nonprofits,
Right.
I mean, you have the hospitals stepping up at 50%. And you have Gann and Merciers, which, are they doing their part? Some people would say no, and they're not the only ones,
Right. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Hey, guys.
Hey,
Tell Kaz to get to work.
he just got here, he showed up.
Yeah, I had to go to the eye doctor.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the world with rose-colored glasses now. Everything looks good.
It does?
Yeah, it's beautiful out there. It's a beautiful world.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, until the drops wear down, then it'll be.
Oh, it's a crazy world.
Well, it's our world. It's not a bad world,
Could be worse.
Well, tell John I wish to thank them guys.
No problem.
John doing a good job?
Well, no. For his group up there on State Street.
Oh, okay. No, I appreciate that.
You mean the,
I think something about Mecca. Yeah. Or, no, I'm sorry, the Perry 200.
The Perry 200, yes,
Right.
sir.
Well, there's a lot. I don't know if you saw the newspaper yesterday, but actually I spoke with Ray Lesneski. He's one of the guys heading up the parade, and I tried to get him to come onto the show today. But like I said, he also was working, but he told me to tell you that he knows who you are. And he's
oh,
like,
Ray and I, we go back to the
Yeah.
Lake Erie Regiment.
Right, and he said he would definitely be glad to come on the show and talk about probably the biggest parade and the best parade to ever hit Erie County.
Ray was one of those hard luck guys that for years he brought in the big drum show
Right.
and didn't get fair treatment on that show from the school district. That's why you see it moved out.
Well, they have from yesterday's paper and some of the meetings that we've had, they've got over 200 units.
Yeah.
Some of the best units.
If Ray, if you want a parade and if you want marching units, Ray will get them.
Ray's on the ball. They're doing a great job. They've got 5 or 6 of those big balloons that you see on Macy's Day Parade. They've got over 200 units, ethnic floats. The different groups and organizations around the city are getting involved. People are starting to get excited about what's going to happen this summer. And there's a lot of great things that are coming up. But if people are interested, there is a Perry 200 website. I think it's perry200.com. If you want to go on, there are so many. I can't keep track of all the events. Between lectures and speakers and parties. And I know we were talking at our last meeting about the big event that we're having to cap off the bicentennial. And what they're doing is we're having after the Tall Ships Festival, I believe it is, and then after that, there's a big party that's going to take place down at the Bayfront Amphitheater. And then they are going to light a torch, and there's going to be fireworks on the bay, and they're going to take the torch over to the Perry Monument.
And light it?
And we are relighting the Perry Monument.
It hasn't been lit in years.
Hasn't been lit in, I don't know, maybe your life, maybe
Yeah,
when you were
I can
younger?
remember when I was young.
Yeah.
Very.
Right.
You could look across there and see it.
Right. So, that's, there's going to be, there's a couple other monuments that are going to be passed on as legacy gifts. But the big thing is the relighting of the Perry Monument over there by Misery Bay. And it's going to be a great event, so.
You still with us, caller?
Oh, yeah. I don't like to try and talk over you, too.
Oh, you can talk over us. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is your show.
That's our rule.
Yeah,
I'm letting people have their say.
right.
You got anything to bring to the table today, though, or?
I just wondered what the school district's going to do with them cutting off the rebuilding process.
What do you mean?
Well, the state said that they aren't going to allow any more school buildings.
Oh, you mean in the future?
Yeah.
All things change with different administrations, but
Right.
it's amazing that.
How many schools right now empty?
You mean in Erie?
Well, they just closed 3 of them last year.
We closed. One of them sold. Well, 2. One sold for sure. The other one I think will be gone.
Well, nonprofits will end up leasing them.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, we lost population.
We end up doing with McKinley.
McKinley's still
Yeah,
open.
McKinley's still open. Actually, I toured McKinley last year. I was working on a project. It's pretty nice in there.
Well, if you remember, that was a brand new school that
Yeah.
we had built.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the one over there off of Raspberry.
Raspberry?
Where the ball,
Oh, Irving?
Gridley Park?
Irving. You mean 21st and 22nd Street in that area?
About 23rd.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
Irving.
yeah.
That's Irving. Yeah, that's closed
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
that's a tough sell when you look at a school building, because they're constructed.
That's a whole city block.
Yeah, and they're constructed, like if you look at Columbus, the school I used to go to, it's now a home.
Right.
It's hard to do a lot of things with a school building.
I used to go to Washington.
I remember that one.
Washington, yeah.
Now it's school district building.
It's scary about how many public, and not to mention the Catholic schools that are closing in the community as well. That's,
Any real Catholic schools left?
no, there's maybe a handful compared to what there used to be. I went to St. Pat's as a kid, and that's been gone for
I'm
a long
on the
time.
Lower East Side.
Mm-hmm.
Used to have 4 of them over here, now there's 1.
Right.
Well, you don't even, if you go to Mass sometimes, you're lucky if you see 40 people in there.
Yeah.
Well, I went to St. Pat's, there was St. Hedwig's was over there, and then you had Mount Calvary down the street, and St. Casimir's, and Holy Family's still there, though, on the Lower East Side. I give them credit.
Schools are under a lot of duress right now, and
The Holy Family's still going.
Right, that's,
St. Anne's is closed.
right. St. Stan's, that's also closed. Although, when I was a kid, all those schools, they were, I mean, there was a lot of kids that attended those schools, but it just seems like every year, every couple of years, one of the Catholic schools are closing. And that's too bad, because that's, you know, the kids get a
Okay, well, I'll
good
let you guys
education.
get back to hard work.
okay.
Thanks.
Right.
Ken?
Yeah, the demographics have changed such that, and public schools are under so much demand on here's what I always laugh at when I was a school director. The money dried up, but the mandates never did.
Right.
So you still had all
And
the,
they give us less money. Go ahead, caller.
You know, the trouble with those Catholic schools, they didn't meet the wages, and the classes got smaller and smaller. Not like the school district. They have schools, and they sell them for peanuts to nonprofits or businessmen. Look at Jones School. They said that wasn't safe.
Right.
Where Jones School is?
they said Academy was in bad shape too.
Yes, you know, and Jones School is a wonderful law offices now. They kept everything, the floors, the blackboards, the whole shot.
Right. Well, I think Jones School, they're law offices now, if I'm not mistaken.
They're what?
Law offices?
Yes, they are law offices. And this place up here, the Glenwood School, that isn't that old. I guess it only sold for like $550,000.
I'm pretty sure the same group that they run where the doctor's offices and those other offices are by Central, I think that same group bought that, or leasing it, I should say, or bought it.
Yeah, and the school board we have, they're a bunch of buffoons too. They let them sell those schools for peanuts.
Well, they kind of inherited big-time financial trouble over there. I feel sorry for those folks.
Who's that?
It is out
School
there
board.
today. The dollar is hard. It's going to get harder.
Right.
But
Well, the tax base is shrinking,
the tax base is shrinking dramatically.
and that is trouble.
And just like 38th Street, Glenwood Park Avenue, there was a hell of an accident the other day. And yesterday morning, there was another one on 38th Street. That was supposed to be a straight shot.
Where was the accident, John? I heard about it, but were they right in that intersection?
38th and Glenwood, look on the south-west corner.
I mean, where they merge or what?
As it came down the hill. Right across Canavino Way on the south side. They took out one of the lights. So,
Oh, but it wasn't where was it where the pinch point was, or pretty close to it?
down below that, I don't know if that played any part in the accident or not.
I tell you what, they won't listen to me, and I say this. I try to stay away from there. I really, really do. I try to take Norman Way, or I try to go, if I'm up on any way I can get away from that road, I try to, because it's amazing the amount of speed people will gather to just try to pass you on the left lane.
Where you have the ease over in,
Yeah, but they start, what's amazing, they start
at the light.
They start way back by the Y.
Right.
You're going through those curves, they think they're Mario Andretti,
Right.
and they think they're Danica Patrick, whatever.
And where the light is stopped, if you're going east, they just gun it, and they don't ease in easily.
No,
It's the old deal like up in Connecticut. You get your bumper out in front of the other cars, you're there first, and be hell or be damned, I'm going.
I remember when first time when they opened that, and I couldn't believe that the way that was constructed like that. I couldn't believe they only had that one lane.
The prints showed it was supposed to be a straight shot across.
they told John, they told a friend of mine who owns land up there on that hill. You know, she lives up on Gridley. Mm-hmm. They said, prepare for your backyard to be gone, part of it. Everybody knew it. The plans were in place for, 4 lane. But from what I understand, there was a little bit of last minute politicking.
Yeah, they couldn't get the money to buy the property.
No, that wasn't it. I heard it was a go. In fact, we had the funds and everything. The state will do, as a late traffic engineer, what was his name?
Wasmoka?
No, after him.
After him?
Yeah, oh God, I got
Oh,
a senior
don't
moment
recall.
there. He told me they'll do whatever you want, and if you fight them and you decide they'll take the money and ship it elsewhere. The money was there, the project was set up. You said yourself, you saw the plans, 4 lanes. But I think it was the association up there that put a clamp to it, and I think they hurt themselves, because I'll tell you what, if you had 4 lanes, people would not be as inclined to be speeding.
No.
But now it's a test of manhood and womanhood. When they come through, they're like, oh, I'm going to pass you.
You ever get there around quitting time for jobs? A lot of times the traffic is backed up to State Street and Trask Avenue.
Right, well, the Bayfront Highway is the same way. I can't believe that's
And the
only
state
one
was
way.
surprised. I heard this comment. They were surprised and shocked that the road is such a success.
And now they want to use 12th Street again.
Let me get this right. Hey, John, you've been around a long time, right?
Yeah.
Give you a road that's got very few lights, although they did put some on there.
Very few lights?
Well, I mean, there's not very many stoplights on the Bayfront Highway, relatively speaking.
No.
You can time them pretty good, right? So what surprises anybody in the state level that people would use that road?
Yeah.
Rather than go over 12th Street or any place else where you got,
But even though you're going out of your way a couple miles, you're saving time.
oh yeah, you know yourself, but you can go from Barron Campus down to Hammond Hospital in no time.
That's true. Well, I can't get across 38th Street up there by the Bayfront Highway because those lights aren't synchronized.
Yeah.
I always get stopped right in the middle.
And that mess they got where you come off by the Perry Plaza after work,
With the spins and all that? Yeah.
they wonder why people wanted the McBride Viaduct open, and that's the reason, because it didn't do justice to the Bayfront Highway Road. If they would take care of that problem, where you got a tremendous backup there. I know what they're going to say. Well, it's not all the time, but you know what? When you use it when you're coming home from work, that's when you need it.
Well, my horse, Butchagaloop, is trying to get in the back door. so I gotta
Butchagaloop?
go. Take care.
I got to tell John who that is.
I don't want to know.
Oh, it's a joke.
Oh, okay.
It's Paul Revere's horse.
Okay.
There's a song we play on Sunday that
Yeah, we were talking about she called earlier, we were talking about your radio show too.
that Butchagaloop's on it.
Oh, God.
Some lady called up.
No, I think John was talking about, your
Oh, we get
your
calls
Sunday
from
show.
Connecticut, Florida,
Right. He said you play Italian music? Or
Georgia.
it's Polish music, right?
Italian. I've done Polish
Italian.
too, though.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I had to
'cause-
cut back. I was doing Italian, Polish on Sunday. It was just getting to be. My wife was ready to divorce me. I mean, I was never home.
No, you're doing too many things. You're
I had to
man
cut
about
back
time.
a little bit, but
Hey, what's going on with the McBride Viaduct? Have they?
they sent me an update. I didn't read it. I just got it in the email Friday or so. I have to read it, but I know they're working on a project, and I believe, they got it narrowed down to what they're going to do.
Right. Wasn't there like 2 or 3 different scenarios? I mean,
But something has to be done, because you know what? If you live on the east side, you understand the problem.
yeah. Well, I do live on the east side, and I do understand the problem. I understand that it's a costly fix, but in the meantime, all those businesses down there on East Avenue and the whole Lower East Side is
Well,
crumbling.
we lost a bank.
The bank's gone. What
All the
PO's?
restaurants.
PO's is gone
Is
from out of
PO's
there.
still open, ain't it?
No, I think somebody else opened it, and I think that's shut already.
Already?
Yeah.
You know what? I went down there because they had Chicago and New York style pizza.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll give it a try. And, I drove down there. And, you think they're closed already?
I think so. I rode by there. I try to frequent those places. Go ahead, you're on the air.
I can't say it's all because of McBride, but, if you live on the east side, you understand that there is a time when the McBride Viaduct is a better road
Right.
than taking the Bayfront.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, if they come with a bridge that would come down, was it East Avenue? That would be the only other alternative that I could see, and that's even sketchy. I can understand the financial aspect and, fixing it and this,
Look
but,
what he did on Harbor Creek. They reopened that road.
yeah. But to take years and years to do a study, I mean, what's going on over there?
I get in trouble with engineers because I always laugh and I say,
Yeah.
you had a road there, you had a bridge there.
Right.
You got to restudy how the birds fly into it or the environmental impact. I mean,
Well, you bring out-of-town people in to do locals. That's one thing I just,
well, that's because of the state and you got, well, you know what it is, John.
yeah, I know what it is. But
know.
you bring out-of-town people to do studies and to, suggest how we run our community, when we've got able people in our community that can do it.
Well, I know I'll get in trouble for this comment.
No.
To redesign the State Street. In my lifetime, I've seen about 3.
Oh, when they narrowed it and then,
Well, I've been here when they widened it.
Yeah.
Well, widened it.
Right.
12th Street. It was narrowed. They took the railroad tracks out on 12th Street, made it wider.
Right.
Now we're going back to narrowing it.
right.
Congestion is good. That
Oh,
was,
you mean the bump outs you're talking about
well,
now?
like even on 12th Street where they took out the outside lanes. They put those double stripes for a while because they didn't have the money to permanently fix it yet.
Right.
But I mean, now the new thing is that they want to constrict it. That's good. Congestion is good.
Right.
I'd like to see stores along 12th Street, but you know what? The area has to grow an awful lot first.
Well, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. People with disposable income, the single family, where they had money to spend, they're gone. I mean, with the expansion of Gannon and
John, you know what the population in Erie County is roughly?
right now,
Yeah, give or take.
102,
It's-
well, two,
Well, no, the city's 100,
two something.
100,000. The county, which is the metro, I don't agree with this. I think we should be allowed to claim Crawford and part of Warren, maybe even Jamestown, area. Because some metropolitan areas do encompass more than one county. But Erie, they only gave us one for the metropolitan area. 280,000, give or take. That hasn't changed statistically relevant in a number of years.
So our population in the city is steadily declining.
Well, the city's declining.
Yeah.
The
I know Mill Creek is
The
growing.
suburbs are, but all you're doing is you're exchanging the same amount of people.
Right.
But the area itself hasn't grown. I mean,
Kaz, what do you think about this idea? A commuter tax for people that live
Outside?
and live in Mill Creek, live in, out of the city, that come into the city and use our roads and use our services. I know they have the earned income tax and all that fun stuff.
well, yeah, but we have to give that back though, John. See, the problem in this state is, unlike Ohio, we have to give back that 1%. Now, we get to keep that .0018. That's on top of that. But the .01, the 1%, we split that, number one, with the school district. And then that's assuming that the people live in Erie. If they live out of town, if they reside out of town and work here, same as we get to claim money from, people that are city residents that work outside. But you yourself knows, where's all the big jobs in the city?
No, not here anymore,
I mean, no, but I mean, the big jobs are in the city, but the people live outside.
not manufacturing.
Would you rather have 1% of, like the Mill Creek Mall? Or would you rather have 1% of Gannon, Hammett, St. Vincent's? That's what I'm talking about. The bigger paying jobs are in the city. The colleges, the
Oh, I
schools.
see what you mean, yeah.
And those people, a lot of them live outside. So a commuter tax would help the city.
Right.
But here's what might help it even better. How about you change the 1% rule? And I've talked to legislators about this. How about we get to keep the 1% where you work?
Right. We got to do something.
Because we lose the real, I mean, if you live out of the city, say you work here, you got a job in the city. What do you really give us? A lunch?
Right. You spend money at our local restaurants and
Maybe,
stores.
maybe.
Gas stations.
But most of your money, your gas, your shopping's gonna be done where you live.
Right,
Your real estate's gonna be where you live,
right,
and your income tax gets returned.
right.
So how does any city make out?
I mean, we need to start thinking out of the box here. I mean, with the new council people coming in and anybody else,
Well,
with
it's nothing that the League of Cities been yelling at this for years, that your old cities, like your Reddings, your Lancasters, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Allentowns, all of them, they're under duress.
well, they're all Act 47, I think it is, aren't they?
Except, yeah, most of them except for us,
I give the mayor credit with that. I
Well,
mean, we've managed to stay out of
We
it.
were heading down a bad road, and a lot of changes, systemic changes were made here that, the work is never done though. I mean, you're always one step away from,
Right.
and it's not an easy job anymore. I mean, you go out to the suburbs and they basically build their way out of problems. I mean, where do you look? Every day got a new store going up,
Well, Mill Creek.
redevelopments.
The West Erie Plaza.
Yeah.
They've got 3 new things going on there. But, Mill Creek, they grew so fast. Now, whenever it rains, half of Mill Creek is underwater.
Yeah, well, because, it was like this.
Yeah.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Right, right. But now, all that expansion, urban sprawl, everybody sprawled from the city to Mill Creek, and now they're having problems out there with water, sewer, all that. And eventually what's going to happen is, they're talking about that new school, they're losing their mind about that new school
Yeah.
out there. Once taxes and everything start going up there to pay for all the new things, they're going to need fire, they're going to need police, like we have it, and they're going to have to start paying those people. They're going to raise the taxes, and people are going to say, forget this, taxes are too high. Let's move to, let's say, Fairview.
See,
It just sprawls
you and I
out.
live in the city.
Yeah,
And thank God there's volunteer firemen, but
Yeah.
it is really nice when you can,
right,
you can, just get, basically you have a fire department on call.
right.
Now, do we pay for that privilege? Yes, we do.
There's a lot of benefits to living in the city compared to living in Fairview or, just the water and sewer alone. I mean, you don't realize what, those people go through just to get water and sewer. And, if your house catches, and whenever I watch the news and there's a house fire, say in Cambridge Springs or something like that, it's always charred ruins. By the time the time the fire gets there, it's just ruins. But at least in the city, you got half a chance of, saving, not to mention lives, but, saving some of the property value.
I think the city's, it's going to come back. It's going to be a lot of hard work, though.
Well, they're trying. You have to bring people with money to spend money back into living into the downtown district.
I'll tell you a little story, though. One time, I told this to some people around here one time. I said, when my father-in-law moved, he was thinking about moving, well, he did. He moved out of Pennsylvania as he retired. And he was looking about where was he going to finish out his career. And he looked all around the country, sent out all kinds of inquiries. He'd get these packets, thick. What to do in our town, what churches, schools, taxes, utilities, everything, government, makeup of the city, demographics, welcome. You know what he got from Erie? You don't even want to know. I was embarrassed, I really was, and I have said this to the Chamber of Commerce. I don't know if they still do it. So I did a little thing. I called from when I was down there. I got on the phone, so it would have a Virginia number.
Right.
And I called in and I said, you know what, I'm getting transferred up to Erie and I would like to buy a house in the city of Erie.
Right.
That's what we're up against. We're our own worst enemy up here.
Right.
And,
Well, those organizations, they just need to start working together and come up with a plan and stick to the plan. That's the problem. We've got so many plans. The downtown district,
Yeah.
they have a plan. This group has a plan, that group has a plan.
I always
Let's get
joke
together and have one master plan and actually, let's actually stick to doing it. They spend millions. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on plans, and there's not one, they're not following through with any. They're trying, but they
remember-
got to put more effort into it.
I'm not saying the Bayfront is perfect or not perfect, but I remember there was a thing in the paper once, and there was a police officer, Drew was up there, Ronnie Drew. Showed him up there, they had a picture of him and envisioning the Bayfront. We've only got part of that, accomplished. What they had was, it was a beautiful plan. But you're right, over the years I've seen the Doxiados, the Rotoval. Now we got another plan. We had the lakefront plan.
We did do some things with the Rotoval plan, I think.
Yeah, but it's almost like we're afraid to make the move,
I'll
It's
tell you
like-
what, there's 2 important properties on the Bayfront right now, the GAF and the East Slip, I think it's called,
Yeah.
or the East, whatever that's.
East, yeah, that's
East Slip. Those are 2 prime lakefront, waterfront properties that need to be developed.
I don't know how when I go around town, I can tell you what the public says.
What do they say?
Not the people, maybe the people that are guiding this project, but to the common man,
What do they say?
they want to see some commercial development. They
Commercial.
want something that they can enjoy,
Right.
you know, that they can go down and they can do things.
Some of the things that I've noticed in some of the other cities that I've traveled to is your first level is commercial, restaurants, shops, especially on the waterfront. The next level is like office space, different organizations, mostly office space
The
overlooking.
third is residential.
And the third is residential, condominiums. Anywhere where you can buy a condominium that overlooks water, big bucks.
I saw that, go ahead,
That's pretty,
I saw that, you know, the best part I saw that was in San Diego. And they had a plan where, just like you said, the waterfront was for the public. And then as you move back, and on the bluff, that's where they had the high rises up, Now you're gonna say, well, that's San Diego, but you know what? Yeah, you don't do San Diego's plan, just like you don't do Fisherman's Wharf or Navy Pier.
right.
You gear it to your size. And, the plan that they had,
What's that?
for GF, there's some nice plans out there.
Yeah, right, we'll talk about that.
Go ahead, caller.
I had to call back real quick. You're talking about condominiums looking over water.
Yeah,
Well, my house looks over the water. In fact, I used to be able to see the Perry Monument when it was lit. And I just wanted to let you know, I did get my Perry Monument coin with Commodore Perry on it.
not from here though, right?
No, it's from Ohio.
I know,
Right. That's funny you said that, because the last time that I was here,
see this, John?
my mother had one of these coins that you were talking about.
I have one.
Yeah, my mom had one, so I got hers today, too.
It's a
Yeah.
sesquicentennial coin,
That was
John.
100-year, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, you might have to put your new glasses on.
Oh, no, my eyes are dilated, you have to read that.
It has feathers on it and all
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Yeah, the big war bonnet.
Yeah, they were used for tokens for the buses and everything else.
Good for 50 cents in trade, or something like that, it says on there.
See where Joyce Salakio was commenting to, I forgot, I don't recall who wrote the article about the coins, thinking they'd have time to make a coin. I don't think so.
Well, Ohio's coming out with one.
They have it. I've got them.
Oh, from Ohio?
Yes.
When did they come out?
They came out the first of the month. You have to get a hold of United States Mint, and you can order them. There's 5 coins.
Right. Well, technically, the Battle of Lake Erie took place. Putin Bay.
Well, it took place up at Putin Bay.
Right. Well, all the ships and all the everything was built here on the bayfront. And what happened was, they all, Commodore Elliott, Commodore Perry, and Daniel Dobbins, they all cruised out of here with everybody, and they were supposed to stay in a line. Back in those days when you fought in those type of wars, you were supposed to stay in a line and do, shoot cannons back and forth, however they did that. And it seemed like, Commodore Perry told all those ships, no matter what, do not get out of the line. When we're in a battle, do not get out of line. And they show in the history books how his ship somehow was out of line. And that's why his ship took most of the bombardment, to the point where he had to grab the "Don't Give Up the Ship" flag, left that ship, and actually rowed back to the flagship Niagara, which was Commodore Elliott he was the commander of that ship, and took over the flagship Niagara, and then the other smaller ships cruised up and fought the battle, and that's how they won it. But that, it's funny how you don't give up the ship, but Perry kind of grabbed the flag, because, a lot of people say there's arguments going back and forth, did he abandon the ship?
The ship goes, they take their flag with them.
Right.
There was an argument, though, between Elliot and him.
Oh, him and Elliott didn't. At first they got along, and then they became enemies.
Well, Perry was,
Well, Perry,
Yeah.
he was pompous, Perry, you know that.
Perry kind of,
Well connected.
he kind of did Daniel Dobbins wrong.
Well, yeah.
What happened was,
He got hosed down with Dobbins.
well, yeah, on their way out to fight the Battle of Lake Erie, Commodore Perry sent Daniel Dobbins back to the bay to get supplies, when he knew that they were going into this battle, but he didn't want to allegedly share the glory with Daniel Dobbins, so he sent Daniel Dobbins back to get supplies for the other ships. And that's where, I think the saying where Daniel Dobbins says, "I heard thunder down the lakes."
The picture.
What's that?
The Wolverine.
Oh, that was the first ironclad ship, John.
Right.
That was like Civil War, I think, around
Actually,
that
that
time.
was the third, because the Monitor and Merrimack and the Monitor were the first.
Yeah, but they don't consider them warships. They consider them like hybrids or something. They claim the Michigan, which was the original name, was the first ironclad warship.
Are you familiar with the story of Misery Bay?
Yes.
Do you know about that, Kaz?
Yep. How much is legend, how much is fact?
Yeah.
Well, as a kid, we thought it was all fact because we didn't go swimming there. We thought all the bones would come up.
Well, that's where they come back with they were
We're
diseased.
supposed to make a graveyard.
I'm going to test John's knowledge.
I've flown.
You ready for this, John?
I don't know you guys' knowledge. You guys
No,
are
John.
smart.
What was Daniel Dobbins' ship name?
Oh,
Where's what?
what was Daniel Dobbins' ship name? Oh, I'll know it when you say it. I'll know it when you say it.
I
5
don't
minutes.
even know. You'll have to give me a chance to work on that.
He's Googling it right now.
I used to be able to name all the ships, the
Yeah, I
Porcupine.
can't remember that.
The,
I'll know it as soon as you say it. I'll know it. It's just slipping my mind right now.
So,
But there was like 15
the
ships.
Trippy, the Porcupine,
Something.
which one was the surgeon?
it was the
Oh.
British had the Little Beaver, the Little Pelt, something like that. And
Yeah.
The big ones were the Detroit and the Queen Charlotte, Lady Provost.
Right. Well, I think after the war was over, Commodore Hazard Perry brought back General Barclay. He was the leader of the British, and after the war, he was severely injured, and he brought him instead of killing him, and they went out. I think the Dixon Tavern. I'm pretty sure he brought him there, and they took care of him, even though they were enemies.
Did you ever read the story what they did with the ships?
They sunk them, didn't they?
Some of them, one of them was taken over the falls.
Really? I know they had sunk some of them, and then they, brought them back up.
Well, I know when I was in the memorial house, I saw where Jean Lafitte had written his name. He wrote his name on the side of the wall. That's before he got a hold of Andrew Jackson and you had to give him the gunpowder.
Hey, I got to tell you a story. I told Pat Cabianca this one time. He was laughing at me. Hey, John, which way did they lay the keels when they did those ships?
Which way they what?
Which way were the keels laid? Weren't you there?
The keels?
Yeah, weren't you there or not?
I wasn't there when they were laying the keels.
Pat might have been there.
I told Pat, I says, one time I joked with Pat when he was on council, I said, Pat, were you there when they declined they voted against the variance to allow the boats to be built on there? He was ready to kill me.
He would. But have a great day.
Okay.
I joked him, I says, were you here when they were voting on that? There was no, actually Erie was not even a borough then.
Right.
It was a village.
Right.
Actually, when you get, it was a Salinas.
Probably be our last call. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kaz, just a reminder, if you're available, we're having our Southeast Hills neighborhood watch meeting tonight.
Oh, okay, I think I can make it.
Yeah, 7 o'clock, usual time.
Should be lively, right?
I hope.
Things okay up there, or?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Yeah, and I know, I try to keep my area's a little quiet, but that doesn't mean that it's quiet where you are.
Kids have been gone for the last couple of weeks, so.
Well, that explains a lot of
Spring
it.
break.
Yeah, so now they're back. And St. Patty's Day is coming up, so that'll
Oh,
probably
God.
be discussed.
Well, Kaz is going to have a big party at his house, and you're going to drive some of those.
No, what
kids
we're
crazy.
doing, the neighbors and I are getting together. You want to join me on this?
I don't know.
Well, we're going to get up at, when they go to bed, we're going to get up like at 5 or 6 in the morning.
Oh, yeah,
We're going to play Led Zeppelin.
there you go.
The best day.
After they go to bed, we're going to wake them up.
March 18th would be the best. I mean, the day after St. Pat, they're all
Yeah,
asleep.
we're going to play our music at 7 in the morning when they're
Right,
sleeping.
right, because they usually, the 18th, Led Zeppelin at the 10th decibel.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll be moving. They'll be calling this show about you.
I laugh when they show up at the breakfast place, like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, bloodshot eyes, and they're wondering,
Too bad they're not on break at that time.
yeah, there you go.
Okay, thanks, Kaz.
I can't tell you the story on here what happened to my car one time.
Boy.
I was coming out of the City Hall parking lot on St. Patty's Day, which was one for the books. Hey, here's our answer, ready?
Let's hear it.
This was sent down to us. I'm not sure if this is city ordinance or not. It could be, and I have to check, but it's definitely, either in the code or whatever.
We got 1 minute
It
left.
says, any commercial or manufacturing use which abuts a residential use or district shall provide screening as defined. And then it goes on, but it says, for every new commercial or manufacturing development hereinafter established in the city of Erie, 1 tree is to be planted along all street frontages of the property for every 30 feet of frontage. So I don't know how many trees it sounds like, I don't know what that lot would be up there.
Yeah.
They'd probably have like,
They need a lot of trees.
well, you see, my property is 60 by 120, the average house.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's a big parking lot up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was one of the first callers that called and asked about that.
Yeah, you have to have a 3-inch caliper, whatever that means. I think that's a trunk.
Can I see it?
Yeah, trees may be planted either in the right-of-way or on private property along the street frontage of the property's owner's discretion. So there's the answer.
There you go.
But,
Well, that's good. I'm glad they're paying attention upstairs, because the guy, he had a question for you. I wrote that down for you.
30 feet, that'll give you, as that's 10 yards, that's pretty tight.
Right.
Yeah, you, at 10 yards, yeah, you could block cameras.
Right.
Of course, every property owner should have their own cameras, but the thing I learned was, and it's amazing how many cameras we have just around here.
Well, I think we're almost out of time. I want to
Yeah,
thank
we had
you.
about, he gave us the 5-minute mark.
You gave us the 1-minute mark while you were looking at
Oh,
that.
well, we're done now.
Yeah, so just want to thank you for having me on again. And, if anybody has questions about the Perry 200, go to the perry200.com website and see all the fun activities we got going on. And if you have any questions, call the Jefferson Education Society, and they'll answer them.
And hopefully we'll have either Ray on later, or
Ray's coming on. He was going to come today. I spoke with him this morning. He couldn't get out of a meeting.
we get some guests lined up, so,
Oh, do you?
yeah.
We'll have to schedule him on there. And, yeah, because he's doing a great, they're getting like 4 or 5 different groups a day. Probably take this and go
Yep.
off the air. Go
Well,
ahead.
we'll go off the air with you, sir.
Salina was Captain Dobbins' ship's name.
Salinas, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he told me that right now. He's like, Salinas.
Okay.
You had to look that one up, didn't you, John?
He Googled it.
I was gonna ask him how many cannon run to Trippy.
He Googled it.
You know how many cannon run to Trippy?
No.
1, I think.
That's all you need.
Yeah, a lot of those little sloops, they were.
Well, I think we're done. Thanks
We
for
are.
having
Hey,
me.
John, thanks for filling in.
No problem. Yeah, my mom had this coin. I was like, we were just talking about that coin.
I remember these.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.